And we're back.
If you're hearing our voices, that means it's time for It's This Meets That podcast where we watch terrible movies, not just movies, but terrible movies, so you don't have to, but you probably should.
I hope so.
I'm Russ.
And I'm Jared.
Well, I
was going to say, when we left off, we were at the beginning of the movie again.
Before that, I was going to say we are at part 2 of...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Kill chain's a military term.
Jesus. Part 2 of it. If you missed the first part, then why are you here?
Yeah, right? If you skipped part 1, don't drink things out of the carton.
Because you probably do. If you skip things, that means you skip a glass and you drink right out of the carton.
Yeah, and you didn't really miss anything else. You didn't miss any Nic Cage, certainly.
No,
we're just getting back to that. Yeah,
we're just getting into it. So, all right, man, take it away. Where do we pick up?
Yeah, we picked up where we left off at the very beginning of the movie. When
very well timed.
Yeah. Fully 46 minutes into the movie, Nicolas Cage comes back, and we get our friends here dinging the old bell button, and I love Nic Cage's line of, "Well, I'm supposed to ask for ID and a credit card, but doesn't really matter." This isn't when our friends from the Buick come in. This is when our friends. So the guy who ends up dead at the table there.
Is it?
Yeah. When I said back to the beginning, I mean back to the beginning when Nic Cage says, "And let me tell you about me and Franco," and then goes and tells the story, but there's the dead body. It's the whole thing. No?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. I made it way more confusing than it is. But
yeah, no, I have no idea where we are right now. I think you skipped a lot. I don't know.
I don't think so. All right. Well, why don't you start this episode then, Russ? Because I thought this is when we're.
I don't know.
Oh, no, wait, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're totally right. You're totally right.
Hey, we all have our moments. I have more moments than often, so I feel pretty good about this right now. You want to try? You want to take 2 of this?
I want you to start.
Okay, so we are Lady in Red, Renata, and Nick at the hotel, and I think we're basically back at the beginning of where the movie started, right? At this point,
right?
You can
exactly.
You can nod and confirm that at least.
Great point, Russ. He said with confidence.
So then we get so Lady in Red. Because she where we left off, came out of the van and she was heading into the hotel. So now she's in the hotel. She's getting a room. Nic Cage brings her up to the hotel room. She gets her room, blah, blah. And then we get the shot from the trailer about they're hanging at the bar. She's talking about, you look like a bad guy with bad hands. And he's like, "Oh, I'm the clerk, bartender, blah, blah." We get all that, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then he talks about how he won the hotel in a poker game. Kind of important because he holds up the poker chip.
Right.
And puts it on a table. Little nod, very important, no, for later at the end of the movie. Well,
and then before we get to the next part, and then he takes a drink. And why does he take a drink like that? Like, it's a weird thing. So they order a tequila and a beer. She orders a tequila and a beer. And he also has a shot of tequila with her, takes a drink. And then he goes like,
he's just Nic Cage.
Yes. Unnecessary. I hate it.
He's Nic Cajun. Let him cage.
It's weird. It's so weird. Why would they keep that in?
Because why not? I don't know. They needed more Nic Cage, and that was like the best they got, which is kind of like whatever.
Disappointing.
So this is where we get a little backstory from her now. Well, we already knew this, but she was going to the hotel to meet Aranya.
Yeah, and she asked him, "Do you know a man named Aranya?"
Right, which he's not saying anything about, but I think at this point, I assumed it was him.
Oh, I didn't. I had no idea.
Oh,
I was completely in the dark at this point.
Oh, I definitely assumed it was him. And then there's a bunch of back and forth between them. And I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I was just kind of like this dialogue.
No, well, the back and forth is important because it's weird. Like, they're doing a lot of animal analogies, like talking about, he's like, "Oh, do you know a man named Aranya?" And he's like, "Oh, isn't that Spanish for spiders?"
Oh, yeah.
In his Nic Cage voice. And then they're like, yeah, probably some snakes and lobos too. And you're like, wait, why would you say snakes and then lobos? Like, why would you say snakes and wolves? I, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It was
know.
really weird.
Yeah, because like
And
this is really pick up like this kind of like what's supposed to feel like snappy dialogue.
right. And it starts to get kind of like a stereotypical Nicolas Cage movie. How everyone pretends Nicolas Cage talks. He's kind of doing that in this movie. Like he's not as bad as everyone usually like the parody of Nicolas Cage is, everyone knows. And he's kind of parodying himself in this movie, I think.
I'm not even sure what to think anymore.
Fair. I question my sanity after this movie too.
As we do with most movies we watch. So that's kind of that. And then
Right.
he heads outside and he starts smoking. So now this is important because we said this earlier. So he comes outside and he's out there smoking and he has an encounter with the other sex worker.
Nailed it.
Okay.
So they go off, he's outside for a smoke.
Right. And he's talking
Nicolas Cage is, why is he smoking so weird? He's doing like a little he's like playing the trumpet with his cigarette here, and I don't care for it. Doesn't make any sense.
So he's out there having a smoke, and this sex worker comes up and talks to him. It's like they know each other, same block. He's been there for a year now, and whatever.
Allegedly,
and everyone treats each other with respect down here. And she was a pair with the sex worker in the very beginning of the movie that the old man sniper called up, right?
yes.
So now this is important. This is important because this is what you called this out, because I actually missed this part, but you called this out. This is actually the parallel moment where right now what's happening is the sniper from the very beginning of the movie is having the back and forth with the other sniper, right?
Yep, that's what's happening upstairs, and we're on the ground level right now.
Yes,
following this side of it, and this is what I really liked it, but I also hated it because it was like Aaron Sorkin-y of like they're having a bunch of this is maybe the third movie that I wanted is Nicolas Cage and this sex worker that they're smoking a cigarette on the street. Like it seems like they know each other. It seems like they've talked a lot because they say, well, you never asked me how I wound up down here. And he goes, that's what we like about each other, right? Is that we never asked each other how we got here. Like they're good lines. It's good dialogue. Like I want to watch that movie. Like show me that one.
I don't need that. I'm okay with it. Like that's fine. Like they just have a history. There's no need for another story there. It's just like they know each other. That's it. Boom. Done.
But they had really good chemistry compared to everyone else in the movie.
They did.
I don't know. I would 110% watch that movie instead of this one.
Okay. I don't know if I have a comment yet, but so she also, and I threw this out there, she kind of looked like a Michelle Pfeiffer lookalike.
Sure. I don't know who that looks like. So
what?
I don't know what Michelle Pfeiffer looks like.
How old are you?
Seems like an 80s thing.
Oh my God. You're terrible. Okay, so we're moving on then. So then we go back inside the hotel. And this was weird. So he has a smoke and he just goes back inside the hotel.
Yeah, no, this scene made no sense.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to set the stage. So he has smoke. He walks back inside the hotel and he just storms up to Lady in Red's room. She's the only patron in the hotel, right?
Seemingly.
So he just walks up and she's standing by the doorway and she'd been drinking tequila, whatever. And he just like walks in.
Yeah. And then a weird sex scene happens.
And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, wait, do they know each other?
No, for sure. No.
They don't, right? There's been no connection other than the fact that like she's coming to the hotel looking for someone named Aranya, right?
Yep.
She doesn't know it's him.
Correct.
And they don't know each other, right?
Exactly. No, you're right. And Nic Cage says that. He's like, "Oh, I'm not delusional enough to think you find me irresistible. Like, what's happening?
Right.
Why did you just have sex with me? That seems weird." Like Nic Cage says it in the movie.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. So then this is where so at that point, then it's like, then whatever. I guess
she starts.
It's like 30 minutes later because this movie is only like a couple. Like in terms of time, it's only like a night. So
yeah, we're coming to a close, luckily. Yeah. And she's talking about how like she wants to just get away from it all and escape from everything. And she asks Nicolas Cage, "Would you just walk out with me tonight? Would you walk out of here?" And Nic Cage is like, "Well, where would we go? What would we do?" Like asking reasonable questions, and she's like, I can't believe you'd say any of that."
Yeah, no, so this whole section of them like going back and forth, like, so my first thought when getting to this point, I was like, this back and forth trying to be real quick and smart dialogue is like they've been trying to do that through the entire movie, kind of, and then this is like
Yep.
they're amping it up, really quippy,
Yes.
really fast, and like I was like trying to be smart, witty, and noir, like a detective
Yep.
noir, which
And
is funny because someone at Hollywood Reporter called this a detective noir, one of the greatest. I was like, what? No.
arguably my favorite part of this whole movie was the way they did that, because like then I started to enjoy it a little more as a parody of itself, of like, oh, you don't strike me as a good cause, you're more of a rabbit hole. Like Nic Cage is like talking to her at that point in weird metaphors and very Aaron Sorkin-y quick speech kind of things.
Yeah.
I like that part. Like that this is when the movie started. I was like, oh, this is the movie I signed up for. This is the trailer trash I watched. This is the movie I want to see.
Right, but it doesn't fit the first hour of this movie.
No, I agree.
The rest of the movie is not like that, and it's like all of a sudden it kind of shifts this. Then you get really kind of weird dialogue like this. Like, this is so irritating. That's not your real answer. That's what you came up with right after you wished you hadn't asked the question. It's like, what? So I don't know. It was irritating. And then we get
back to the lobby, right? With
we get
Oso, the very bad lady.
And that's her character name. So they show up at the front desk, and Oso is obnoxious with the bell.
I'm really glad he dies. I hate people who are obnoxious with the bell like that.
Yeah, like relax, man. And so he gets to the front desk. He's hammering on the bell. I was just irritated. And then Nic Cage comes down.
And this is when we get our trailer scene here of like, do you know who I am? Well, not specifically, but you are a type 2.
Yeah, type 2 diabetic.
Unclear.
So yeah, this kind of pissed me off too, because like, so Oso is hammering on the bell. Nic Cage comes down and he like grabs his hand, like, dude, stop. I'm like, yeah, stop. And then Oso flips out and pulls a gun on him. It's like, dude, how are you getting angry? You're being obnoxious. I hate that. I hate people who do that.
Agreed.
Ring the bell and then pull a gun on you when you call them out on your shit.
And the very bad lady is asking a bunch of questions. And I love this is the closest we get in this movie to a Nic Cage shout. Is the, I don't know, I was in my office, I don't have all the answers. It was the closest we got.
And that was it. And I was like, that sucks. We need
Devastating.
more. We need more angry Nic Cage in this. Didn't he go back up to the? I don't know if he did or not.
Yeah, it cut back upstairs to the room. Yeah, and that's when he was like, "Oh, just go around the front and come in the front door, and I'll leave the woman up here." And so like he like led the woman up to her bedroom, and she sat there, and then he went downstairs and had a drink with Oso. they're just chilling, having a drink.
Yeah.
While supposedly Renata's going upstairs to meet up with the very bad lady.
So now we got Lady in Red up there with the very bad lady in the room. And then we've got Nic Cage and Oso hanging out, sitting at the bar table, whatever the table. And they're kind of having drinking some bourbon. They're having like a,
And this is when we get explicitly, we already killed her lover tonight. And you're like, oh, did we see Lance die? No, but he just confirmed Lance is definitely dead.
But then it's like, oh man, the way this whole thing was just, it was so brutal. Like the camera movement and everything, like it was jumping like all over the place. It was moving all over, like it was so irritating.
So they're both sitting there drinking a glass of bourbon, and all of a sudden Lance goes to kind of Oso goes to refill his glass, and he's got the bottle, and he's just overfilling his glass, spilling it all over the table, just kind of like keeps pouring stuff. And I was like, wait, what kind of drug makes you do that? Like, I don't know.
My first thought was like, so he's going through all this like really broken kind of explanation. And he's like, oh yeah, they're fighting up there, your lady will start talking as soon as, a few more punches get in. I was like, what? And then like, he's saying stuff that just makes no sense.
Yep.
And then, then his hand like started shaking. He just kept pouring the bourbon, like it spilled over the glass. And I was like, what is this guy's problem?
What is? Yeah.
I was like, what is happening right now? And then come to find out, Nic Cage had poisoned him with some good old fashioned big yellow and green pills. All right. So Nic Cage pulls one over on Oso there. He's poisoned his bourbon.
Right.
He's done.
Classic.
So Oso is done, and the bad lady is upstairs with the lady in red. They're fighting. Yep. He heads up there. He opens up the door, whatever, right? And he's got a gun. He's got his gun, I think, right?
Yep.
And he points to the bad lady, lady in the bad lady and the red lady. The lady in red is like on the floor, whatever. She was losing the fight apparently. And
the very bad lady.
Yeah, the very bad lady. And now Nic Cage and the very bad lady have this back and forth. And I don't know. I kind of zoned out. I don't know. It didn't really matter. I don't know. I didn't care.
Well,
but
it was weird because he was like, oh, tell me a reason why you should live. And she was like, well, what's my life worth to you? And he was like, yo, you just made a very convincing argument for killing you. Why? Like, don't ask me what your life is worth. Like, give me a reason. I don't care about anything. I'm Nic Cage.
Yeah.
And then he's like talking about how like, oh, I did enjoy fucking her, but talking about the lady in red.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, wait, is she her pimp? And that's where I was confused. Are they in a relationship? Because it seemed like they were earlier.
I think.
Is she her pimp? Are they also in a relationship?
During this conversation, which still I was like, I don't really care. Lady in red reaches into her purse, pulls out a knife, and knifes I'm doing a stabbing motion right now. Knifes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reenact the best I could. Knifes.
Dear listeners, for those of you who can't see it, Russ is flailing wildly. He's stood up. You can't see it. His room is like a spacious office. Maybe, I don't know, plenty of room all around him. If you remember the lightsaber kid doing his Jedi fight thing with his lightsaber all around, it's like that. Exactly like that. Lots of knives.
Okay, so she knifes the bad lady, gets her, and then it was kind of like the most awkward, shittiest fight.
I'm still confused.
What?
Were they lovers?
It doesn't matter, dude. Whatever. Yeah, they liked each other. They hung out. They went to dinner a couple times. They had feelings. It doesn't matter. It's over.
What?
So then the most awkward fight scene of all time happens. It's just, I don't know. It was a weird fight scene, and Nic Cage is standing there, and then the two bad lady and lady in red. And by the way, the lady in red is also in her bra, by the way, because this ties back to the beginning of the movie.
Right.
They start fighting, and then they end up in the bed, and they're fighting. And it looks like the bad lady is going to win. And Nic Cage is still just standing there with a gun, just doing nothing. And then
hanging out. Yeah.
And then Lady in Red gets a good punch across the face. And now
bunch of good stabs.
What's that?
Bunch of good stabs.
Yeah, and then she gets on top, and then she's just stabbing away, and there's blood going everywhere. And now we understand why she's covered in blood from the beginning of the movie. Blah blah. She's just
kind of. She didn't eat her, and that's what makes me confused about the blood all around her mouth. But.
Dude, I don't know. I've never stabbed a human being that many times to understand blood splatter. Sure. I've watched enough Dexter to understand that blood splatters. You hit an artery here and there. That's a lot of pressure in there. It's going to squirt.
Look. I love blood as much as the next guy, but
I don't.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced about this blood situation.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I am. So bad lady is now dead. Oso is dead, and we're close to the beginning, and this is where we get the line. Oh, I thought you had a knife in your purse.
Oh, right.
And she's like,
but you had a gun in your purse.
I think you had a gun in your purse. And she's
I got to the knife first.
I got to the knife first. And it's just really stupid because, like, once you actually see it all play out, she had all the time in the world to search for the gun in her purse, which is...
Oh, she could have had so many weapons.
But we're getting closer to the beginning because now we have the three Bs. We got Bra, Blood, and Beretta. And then we have a Nic Cage and Lady in Red kind of confrontation a bit right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to put the diamonds and whatever else in. Wasn't there money involved too? He's going to put them all in the safe.
I think so, yeah.
Whatever. The diamonds are in the safe. That's the most important thing, right?
That's the important part. Those are worth 250 unclear units. Yeah, 250 credits. At least credits.
At least federal credits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's when we get the I'd love to go looking for it, but now is not the time, is it? Talking about the money hidden in her bra. He's like, oh, this money, there's a reason why when we were having inexplicable sex earlier that I couldn't touch your left breast. It's because you have money there. She's like, maybe.
All right. Moving on. So now
we're back to the beginning of the movie. This is where I was going at the beginning of this episode that we edited out.
Oh, no. We kept it all in. You skipped so much. Okay. Yeah. So we're now back at the beginning.
I hate this movie.
It only takes you. It's funny how it only takes you us talking about it for you to really hate it.
I know. It really makes me way angrier. Just watching it regular, I was like, oh, well, this isn't so bad. And then as soon as you and I started talking about it again, I got furious.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm getting there. I'm boiling. So we're back at the beginning, and now we've met up to the beginning of the movie, where now we got the two guys who were in not the Buick, but the Skoda. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the blue Skoda.
They are coming into the hotel, the two guys who are kind of snooping around, and they come in, and we kind of get a little more different angles from how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah, and this is when we get all of the Nicolas Cage backstory. This is when we finally find out Nicolas Cage is like, oh yeah, I was a PMC and private military contractor, and I was like, oh, so these are Blackwater boys.
Big time.
We're talking Eric Prince, like, wants to have a Navy. Yeah, I'm on board.
So yeah, because then this is him starting now telling the story where we end at the very beginning. He's like, I'm going to tell you a short story. And now he's telling this, and he's talking about the guy who owned the hotel before him, his friend, Franco, right?
Yep.
He owned the hotel, or he had the hotel. They were friends. They did all these PMC. There were, contractors. They would go out and do these, various jobs for people. They were basically the same. Their job was basically what the two guys who were there, right? Like they did the same thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then
this is when we get the background of like Nic Cage talking about how he learned why they called them blood diamonds.
Yes.
And Nic Cage is talking about when he was a PMC, private military contractor, when he's like traveling the world trying to settle up debts for who knows whatever corporation, and killing lots of people. Talking about Cameroon a ton, which like I think Russ, you and I were talking about this earlier. I think Cameroon is like down with blood diamonds. I don't think this is a disputed thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have no idea.
I think that was like a big controversy, is that Cameroon has a lot, like, if I don't know if there are diamond mines in Cameroon. I think it's that they've allowed them to,
continue doing it.
Exactly. Like be passed through their border. Like it's a whole trade thing. It's all trade.
Yeah. This feels a little above our pay grade to talk about.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And then we start talking about child sex trafficking, and that's where you're like, holy shit. Like it gets way weirder.
Oh, it took a whole nother fucking leap, because so they're talking about blood diamonds, and that's what these diamonds apparently are that they've got.
Right.
And then we learned that Nic Cage, Aranya, we'll call him Nic Cage, because so they were buddies doing work for this organization, right?
Right.
Which is an unnamed organization, which I think is still at the top level here running. It still
seems like the American government at some point. I don't know.
Okay, that's okay.
Like it's unclear.
It's unclear, but okay, yeah. So they worked for this organization, and they were doing all these shipments and stuff like that, and doing basically the same job that the two guys who are in the hotel right now talking to Cage do. And then he's telling the story, and he's like, yeah. And then one day we went to go pick up a shipment, and it was a truck, and we up in the back of the truck, and it was a bunch of girls, and it was like young girls, and there was like a sex trafficking thing. And then Franco and Nick had a moment of like conscious, which you should.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
And
this is Nic Cage is explaining this to the Buick guys over here.
Yeah, do they have names? I don't even think they have names. Oh
no, they do.
Yeah, they're curious.
The curious assassin and the mean assassin.
Oh my god, that's right.
And so like Nic Cage is saying, it's all abstract to you. It's not staring at a cage of little girls. I was like, this movie is getting really fucked up by the second.
Yeah, like super dark, right?
Yeah, like who is the person who's burning these little girls? Like there comes a point where they're burning the little girls alive, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, Nic Cage and Franco didn't want to be a part of that, right?
Right, exactly. And that's when this is when he's talking about Franco not thinking about where he's going, and like he's trying to portray himself as the guy that he imagined he would be when he signed up to fight for his country.
Right.
And like, I don't know.
And
like
it should be noted though. So like this whole thing about like the burning of these kids is Sanchez, the sniper from the very beginning.
Right.
So Sanchez, he was the one who can actually go and do this and like kill these kids. I was like, this is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And then he's continuing to tell his story, and then we've got him talking about Franco there, his buddy, and he basically tried to do his best, and he saved one of the girls and like raised one of them as his daughter. My first thought, by the way, I was like, oh man, it's not the lady in red, is it?
Well, and that's what Thais thought too when we were watching it.
I was like, that'd be weird.
Oh, it definitely him. And I was like, no way. And that was the part that she missed in the bathroom, was like when she had sex with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that would not be a thing.
I crossed my mind. I was like, no, that's too weird. That's too much.
Yeah. It seems out of character.
Well, yeah. Cause so when Franco saved one of these girls, him and Nic Cage were still partners, and Nic Cage was at the hotel, just, they were just buddies doing their thing. And Franco saved this girl, raised her as his own daughter, and she was around when Nic Cage was around. So, and then he raised her, and then she, ran away from Franco, basically from home there. And then here's a crazy connection. She got picked up by the federal agent,
Lance.
Yeah, Lollipop Man, and the crooked cop, Miguel.
Yeah, Lance and Miguel.
And then she basically ended up, dead. Right. And then the whole thing. Yeah. Right.
Dead. Yeah. Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Dead. What did I say? Not dead. Yeah.
No, you said, well, basically dead.
Oh, basically. No, she ended up. Yeah. No. Period.
No, dead for sure.
Yeah. Dead. Period. And that's it. And then he's still going with the story. And then Franco.
And I love the Nicolas Cage play here of like, well, like they're going to kill him. And he leans on, well, you want to hear the end, right?
Yeah.
The thought of walking out and never having gotten to the point of the story. And that's when our buddy, the curious assassin, is like, yeah, actually keep telling me the story.
Yeah, keep going. It's a good story right now, right?
So then it turns out Miguel and Lance doing crimes on Franco's daughter.
Yes. And that's
terrible.
And that's when she ends up dead.
Yeah.
And then so this kicks off Franco wanting revenge, basically. Right?
Well, meanwhile, Nicolas Cage has been smoking the same cigarette for like a half an hour. It doesn't make any sense. I just wanted to call it out because it bothered me.
You're breaking up the tension about.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. Nicolas Cage is smoking the same cigarette forever.
You're breaking up the tension of human sex trafficking for.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I just want to make sure I put everything in perspective there. We gotta.
No, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
gotta, and we laugh.
And there's things that are annoying, and that's true. Yeah, he has been smoking the same cigarette for a long time. Yep. So then the story continues. Franco basically went after the people who are doing this, right? And he was trying to track them down and like kill them all, whatever. He ends up getting killed by the very bad lady,
right?
Who is the lover and or very connected to the lady in red.
Cage killed, right?
Nicolas Cage didn't kill.
Nicolas Cage almost killed, and then the lady in red stabbed the crap out of her. Red. And then like Nic Cage we get a good, finally, Nic Cage crazy laugh of like, who also happens to be dead, rolled up in a bedspread upstairs. Yeah. And you're like, wait, What?
That's the Nic Cage we want.
Yeah, I take it back. I like this movie.
So yeah, actually, like the end, I was like, this isn't that bad. Like this is okay. I'm like, all right. So Nic Cage, basically, what's happening is that Franco goes after. He gets up getting killed. Nic Cage takes over the hotel. He's hanging on to it because he's basically now continuing the revenge path that his friend Franco did.
Right. Seemingly, yeah.
I got questions later, but I think like he was waiting and planning to have all of these people pulled into this.
Right. And this is when we get our guy saying,
what's that? Hold on. But before you go there though, so they're cutting back between like these flashbacks of him and Franco and the young girl, right? And there's a quick shot of the young girl leaving the hotel, and she gives Nic Cage character a kiss in the cheek, and she's leaving, and he's just like, yeah, I could have prevented all this if I just stopped her right there, but I didn't. And there's a quick shot of her turning and her hair flowing, and you see that the earring she is wearing is the poker chip.
The poker chip. Yep. Classic.
So now my thought at this point, I was like, oh, he wants to stop me if I'm giving him too much credit, but I think he wants to save the lady in red because she wants to get out from something that is terrible, and he is replacing her. He's replacing
with Franco's daughter.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, definitely.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're on the same part. Okay. And he's trying to do something.
This is when like the movie, it could have been good. I would have watched that. I would have watched that movie.
100%. It could have been such a good movie.
That could have been a whole other story. I would have watched so much. Yes.
Yeah.
I hate this movie. And that's when, yeah, like it could have been 5 other good movies.
So you hate this movie because it could have been better.
There was so much potential. Yeah.
We've never said that about any movie I think we've watched.
No. I'm trying to think. No, I think you're right. I mean, Little Italy had a solid premise. You got to have the crust and the sauce.
Yeah, you have to be a 4-star Michelin. Come on.
I love like Nicolas Cage has some good like Nietzsche lines here of like, let's just say I've had a good meal and I'm not hungry anymore. Talking about wanting to die.
Yeah, that's solid. So at this point, though, so we've got all this. Everything's kind of just pulling together at this point. I'm going to throw out there. So who are these? Who are the two bad guys then? Or the curious and the mean?
They're like
assassins
from the government, some kind of government, unclear. And I've got a lot of gripes with like they get into a gunfight, obviously, and there are times when our hero Nicolas, like there's no cover, like they're staring at each other. They're on the same wall in the same plane, and the way that it's shot isn't flattering and showing that like it shows that they could just aim the guns at each other and shoot each other, and they're missing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I think like what sucks about it is like the whole space, the whole like area where they are was set up for could have been such a cool like gunfight, and it ended up turning into just like no one knows where they are. We don't know where they are. It's just shooting guns and kind of blowing. I don't know. Just nothing made sense, and you couldn't tell where everyone was. It was really irritating because they could have just made it really just simplify it. It could have been a really cool like simple, and it doesn't need to be all this crazy thing. And it was like tried to be too much.
Yeah, I agree. It could have been really good. And so the other thing that could have been really good, and you noticed and I didn't, like for me, this was a really good realization that, well, it could have been if I didn't push the pause button, but I didn't know coming into right now that Nicolas Cage was Aranya. I know you suspected it earlier. I had no idea.
Oh, I didn't.
I had no clue until this point, and then I clicked pause so I could take a note, and it came up in Amazon. Yeah, the way Amazon does when you pause it, it comes up and shows all the actors in the scene.
Yeah, it does the X-ray thing,
and it's like, oh, Nicolas Cage, Aranya, and I was like, wait, Nicolas Cage is credited. Oh, God, way to ruin the movie for me, Amazon. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, furious. But I had no idea. It could have been a really cool reveal. This movie could have been so good.
It had all the elements to it. I actually was into like the story and the twists and all that sort of stuff. It just was executed poorly. But so they go through this. It kicks off this big, gunfight. There's not only the 4 of them. It's Lady in Red she's upstairs, and she actually takes a shot at the mean assassin,
who is seemingly out of bullets, and so is our hero here.
Oh man, so this was so annoying. So like, yeah. Oh, so go ahead.
About to have a knife fight.
Well, yeah. So hold on. Before that though, like, so she's like lined up against the wall, and he's just standing there like waiting because he knows she's right there, and she just pops out, which makes no sense. But they're both like click, click, click. Oh, they're both out of ammo. Like
Stupid. Yeah.
everyone, you got to check. You have to check what you have. Come on, what do you got in there? So they're both out, and all of a sudden becomes a knife fight.
Well, until he finds his other gun, which he confiscated from Nicolas Cage earlier
From the very beginning of the movie.
in his waistband. And this is where I don't understand what happened. Did he get a knife in his eye? Like, what happened to his eye?
So
did he get shot?
So I took me a second too. So what happened it's when Nic Cage comes and explains it. So he pulls out the other gun. So Lady in Red standing there, she's got the knife, the same knife she stabbed the hell out of the bad lady.
Right. She ends up cutting his throat to kill him.
Yeah. But before that, so he's like, all right, he's out of ammo, whatever. And she shows herself, and he's just like, great. He says some line and pulls out this other gun in his back pocket or whatever. And it's the gun that he took from Nic Cage very early in the beginning of the movie. Right. And he's like, whatever, I got you. And he goes to shoot, and the barrel explodes, and shrapnel from the barrel shoots in his eye. That's what it is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the gun explodes, stupid. Basically. Yeah.
That's dumb.
It's really dumb because it explodes, and like shrapnel shoots in his eye, and he's like, I'm crazy. And she runs up and then cuts his throat. I was like, oh, that's all pretty brutal. And then Nic Cage pops in. I was like, did he shoot the gun and explode?
That's what I thought, maybe, yeah.
Because the way they did it, I was like, but no, he says after he's like, oh, you should always check the gun you pick up or something like that. And I was like, oh.
It is arguably the best scene in the whole movie, but that's not saying much.
No, it definitely was the best scene in the movie, but yeah, it's definitely not saying much. So that guy's done. The other guy then, so Nic Cage and the other guy go on like a tour of the upstairs, right?
Right. And and he kisses her.
Does he?
Yeah. And it's real weird. He kisses the lady in red again. Like he's just like, oh, goodbye.
Wait, are you skipping ahead at the end, or are we talking?
No, I'm talking about right now. Like this is the blood diamonds, and everybody's having a good time. And he just like gives her a little kiss, and then I don't know. Yes, it's that part of the movie.
And then he goes hunting for the other guy with a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
And they have a very intense looking for each other through sheets that are hanging in the hotel lobby. I don't know. It's really weird.
Stupid. Yep.
And it's like they take a couple shots, and it's quiet. And then whatever, Nic Cage just shoots the other bad guy.
Shoots him. He's dead.
Cool.
Like uneventfully, he just like dies.
Yeah, like okay. This could have been so much better.
Well, like
and
nailed it.
That wraps up the movie, folks. Then what happens? So the two bad guys are dead.
Then we go back to the sniper nest. Then so Nic Cage goes upstairs into this hotel room and finds Enrico, our hero.
Wait, hold on. Just before
a true hero. Go on.
I was confused. So I still confused at this point. Did the lady in red and Nic Cage know each other?
No.
Okay. All of a sudden, it felt like everything was part of a plan because they have they have a conversation. They talk about like,
and that was why it was weird. He kissed at her because I was like, wait, why would you kiss her? You don't know her, really?
I mean, they had relations early in the film.
Sure.
Bra was still on, so they didn't know each other that well. But
stupid. This is awful.
Yeah. Whatever. So then we pop back up.
So then we get back to the sniper nest. Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in the sniper nest. So Nic Cage, I guess, knew he was there. I forget.
I guess.
I don't know.
And he's like, we get Elliot from Just Shoot Me saying like,
he just got shot.
What if I killed Sanchez? You're like, well, you didn't. If I had a nickel for every time I said, what if I killed Sanchez? I'd have 20 Sanchez nickels. Sure.
So do they know each other?
Yeah, they know each other because Just Shoot Me guy watched the other girl, Bernie Sanders, on those girls, the girls that were in the basement there.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
He watched Sanchez, Bernie Sanders, them alive.
So, Jesus Christ. Okay. But so then, do we know how Nic Cage Because so he wouldn't. That's right. Because him and Franco they wouldn't burn the girls, but Sanchez would, and old guy
And
was there.
just shoot me, right?
Was there, right? So that's right. They've revealed that later. So Sanchez in the earlier shot is just him. They're just showing him burning the girls, and then when he walks up the stairs, the old guy sniper is sitting there. And it's like, that's why he has a thing with his daughter where he's just like, I can't,
And I hate this part because then it's like, well, are you trying to set up some kind of sequel here of like protecting the daughter? Is this where we get a Born Identity situation where you're trying to be the good guy now? And
they're totally trying to do like a Taken thing here, 100%. So old sniper guy is still alive, sitting there. He's about to go. And he's like, you got to protect my daughter because they're going to come after her because they know I killed Sanchez, blah, 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 or whatever. But you didn't kill Sanchez. But they're gonna think I killed Sanchez. But you have to protect my daughter. Blah, blah, blah. He throws the phone out. It's the only number in there, and
Nic Cage shoots him.
Nic Cage is like, man, I don't want to do this. And the old guy's like, you got to. I don't know why. Do we know why they know each other? Are they best friends or something? Like, why would he?
No, they're not.
They clearly know each other, and the old guy had a problem with the thing that Sanchez did, and he didn't like it. Obviously, he didn't prove it, but he just let it happen. So he throws him the phone. Nic Cage picks it up, and he's like, "Sure," and then he just shoots him to put him in his misery.
And then there's a lot of people out on the street. No one is saying anything about all the gunfire that's been happening for hours now.
So much gunfire, so loud gunfire.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage just walking down the sidewalk, calls up Andrea, and then that's the end of the movie.
That's it.
Like, how? Why? I don't understand it at all. I appreciated the credits reaffirming what I already knew of that people were called, the woman in red and the old sniper. Like,
yes.
Thank you, the credits for reaffirming me. But what a tragedy. What a tragedy, this movie. It could have been 3 good movies. Instead, it was 1 awful movie.
It could have been.
Thank you for suffering with us.
This might be the least suffering. It was bad, but it wasn't the worst. This is
it's definitely in the middle.
Yeah. I think maybe we should do we're up to 30 some odd episodes. Maybe we should do a ranking sometime soon of like our episodes.
Sure. Yeah. Let's save it for a holiday. Maybe we'll save it for a holiday. We'll do a special
holiday special. I love it. Okay.
Holiday top 10.
Yay,
by then we'll have
Christmas.
Yeah, by then we'll have 70 episodes or something. Who knows?
We might be at 100. Who knows? Anyways,
yeah.
So that's the end of this one. You can lead us out. I think we're done, right?
No, yeah. Thank you for all of you who are listening. We appreciate you. And we'll be back next week. But in the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That. And we're ITMT Pod on Twitter.
Yeah, you should do both of those things. But if you're feeling old fashioned too, you can send us an email at itsthismeetsthat@gmail.com. As always, all of our episodes can be found at itsthismeetsthat.com. Thank you again for listening.